Sweet.
All right. Today we have a very special treat. Anytime I get to hang out with the Michudas is a good day, but we get two Michudas today on this podcast. So thanks for joining, Mike and Carol.
You are welcome.
And
Anything to take a break from the workday. It's great.
yeah, this is way more fun than work. Today we're going to talk about like generational family homes. So why don't you guys tell us about yourselves? Mike, you want to start and then we can have Carol
Yeah.
jump in.
Yeah. So I grew up in Minnesota, but I moved to Colorado in 2009. So I've been in Colorado for a long time, and we've always lived in the Denver area. So I work and live around the Denver metro area, and I have a wife and two kids. And they're pretty young, 2 and 4. But yeah, we like to do, all the classic outdoor mountain stuff, which is why we moved here in the first place, and have stayed. And yeah, we just try to get up to the mountains as much as possible, which we'll get into in a little bit here. But yeah.
Yeah. Carol?
Okay, so I'll start with when Andy and I got married in 1980, and he was transferred out to the Denver office for the company that was headquartered in Minneapolis. So we came out right after we got married, and we lived here for almost 6 years. And the girls were actually born in Denver. We lived in Littleton, oddly enough. And we proceeded to move to California for about a year and a half and then moved to Minneapolis, St. Paul in 1987, a month before Michael was born. So I have a little cute story that he might not remember, but I think he was in either first or second grade. He was that young. And he said, I can't believe I have to have Minnesota on my birth certificate and my sisters have Colorado. That's so much cooler or something, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but this is really truthful. And he said, when I grow up, I'm either going to live in Colorado or California because you got to live in two great places before I was born. So look at what
Sure.
happened.
It's true.
He was born to be in Colorado. He knew
I
it.
Right.
know, I know. Isn't that funny?
That's awesome. So you guys have some Colorado roots. And Mike
Mhm.
felt those when he was born and felt like he should come back. So
Well, I think he felt like he missed out on something.
yeah. Well, I'm glad you made your way and then you brought your parents along. So and I know Mike from a while ago, back in the Denver days, because his wife and I went to high school together. So we got long roots in Colorado. She's also a native. So
Mhm.
yeah. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about real estate. So do you guys want to tell us about the property you have in Colorado and then other properties and kind of what led you to your Frisco place?
So, Mike, do you want me to start?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Because I have some memories of this.
Yeah.
So it kind of started the pandemic when COVID hit, and we decided to come out here and spend a couple of the winters. And the first winter was when May had just been born. So she had been born in August, and we came out in January. And it
One of my
just
daughters. Yeah. Or my one daughter. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. Mike's daughter, his oldest. And I think that just kind of spearheaded thoughts that, this would be a good place to be at least part of the year because then we could see May and then ultimately now Max, who's 2.5. So I think that's how it started. We had some conversations. Andy has always been a ski lover. So it kind of made sense. This would be the way we'd get to see our two grown adult children out here because Jennifer couldn't make it today, but she lives out in Denver as well, and Michael too, and then Megan and the grandkids. So I think the discussion sort of started around then, that we were really serious. It started in 2020 that we were really serious. And I think another piece to it too was that Megan's mom, we knew, was passing from cancer. And we just knew we wanted to be a part of everyone's life out here. And I think that's how it started.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think
And
it's
oh,
like,
and you know what? I can't you know what? I'm sorry, Mike, I'm interrupting. I can't forget that Stephanie, our oldest, which I had written down and completely spacing out, Stephanie, our oldest, uh, and her husband and family, our two other grandchildren, have a condo in Keystone. So they come out and we get to all be together at different times outside of being in Minnesota.
yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because Steph, the oldest of the three kids, so one of my older sisters, they really bought that place in Keystone as like a straight investment. Like that was their goal going into it because they have other rental properties as well. And they're like, hey, bonus, it's in Colorado. We'll be able to see Jen and Mike. And this was before, obviously, we had this place in Frisco. Uh, but they were really doing it as an investment. Like, hey, we're gonna really rent this thing. We'll still spend a couple weeks out of the year. And when that connection kind of happened, I think it was easier for my parents to be like, well, this is a good meeting place for all of us, right? To be able to spend time together. And obviously with Jen and I in Denver, we were very motivated, right? Maybe more so than my parents realized to like try to get something. And so we were already kind of talking about, hey, what could we get around Summit County? And naturally, once my parents were like interested, it just made a lot more sense given how expensive everything is. And to really get a place that we really cared and liked about, we felt like it made more sense to go in as a collective, right? To really get a place that excited all of us and really was viewed as, hey, this isn't like an investment for us. This is more of a lifestyle change for us and like what we want to be doing on the weekends. And so, it's a lot easier when you pull together, multiple generations when it comes to the financial side of things too. So, yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
And oh, go ahead.
no, you go, Carol.
Oh, no, never, no, it's insignificant, doesn't matter.
Okay. So I guess before I ask my next question, I do have to say that I've gotten to work with the Michuda family a couple times, and I've known you guys for a while, and you guys are very special family that works very well together. I know my family, and I've seen a lot of others that like, doing business with family isn't always easy. So how did you guys come together to make decisions? And I saw a little bit from the outside, but like who made what kind of decisions? And I know Jen was like, I have something to say every now and then. But like, how did you guys kind of like, did you all throw ideas out or like Mike could walk into a place and say yay or nay right away? Like, how did you kind of come together to make that consensus decision?
I think first of all, it was coming to a decision of what area to look and to find the special place because we were looking in Silverthorne too, and Mike really liked the Highlands area and he talked that area up. So we went to both of those areas, and then Jen spoke up and said, I'd really like to be walking distance from Frisco. And after, there wasn't a whole lot to look at either. So we sort of could narrow it down. We looked at a place in Silverthorne, decided that was way too sunny of an area, too busy of a street for little ones. Then we tried to look in the Highlands, and there really wasn't anything that wowed us. And Mike can speak to this too. And I think it just came down to this Frisco home that we didn't even know existed. We looked in the reserve and we decided, that was kind of too suburban-y feeling. And this feels like you're really in the mountains. It's unincorporated and it just seemed like a good fit for us.
Yeah, I think, yeah. And ultimately, I think it just came down to like our priorities and our checklist of like, hey, are we all in alignment on what we really care about as far as location, type of place, etc. And so it wasn't like there was one voice taking over that
No.
conversation. Luckily, we are pretty good about liking the same things and like being on the same page. And so I think all of us to be like at first we just figured the area that we chose was not we weren't going to find exactly what we wanted from the house perspective, and so we were starting to look outside of Frisco because we weren't having as much success early on in our search. But once we kind of found the right place, it was very obvious to us that it hit all the priority items that we really cared about, which was like, yeah, walking distance to like a town or an area where like it's easy for the kids to go to the playground and we can like go to a main street and enjoy the restaurants, etc. But it also had like a more mountain feel where it felt like we had a good like space in the backyard on the back deck where you could just like sit there and enjoy kind of the mountain views versus um, feeling more crowded in some of the other areas that are out there. So yeah, I feel like it was just kind of the priority list of like, hey, we want that mountain feel, but access to town. And that was hard to find. And so we were kind of willing to move on that until we like really found our ideal spot that hit all the right points. It was
Awesome.
more the renovation that brought up more conflict as far as exact decisions, but even that was all right as well. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to talk about the renovation and like let's go there of because I think there was some different ideas and yeah, finding the place is one thing, but then like what you want to do. And I will say before we jump in that Carol, I don't care what anybody says about the decisions, they should leave them to you because you made great choices on the design.
Well, it wasn't all me because I definitely couldn't have done it by myself, but I think I have certain expertise that was perfect for the renovation. I think Mike and Jen had some great ideas. And the one story I can tell is how we went through probably 4 months deciding on the floor. And finally, Mike came up and said this is the floor we want, and it was decided. But we really, most of the decisions really didn't take that long. We had a vision at first. I think Mike can speak to this too, that his vision was more mountain modern. And once we met with a designer, she used it as more mountain transitional than mountain modern, which was the right way to look at our renovation. We had a lot of fun. And I think Mike and I are the most opinionated, and Andy and Jen kind of were trying to, pull us back a little bit, but in the end, it all was ended up perfect. So on
Yeah.
to the next renovations.
Yeah, like one thing I guess I'll note is uh I think we were trying to really find a place originally that was kind of move-in ready and like we weren't thinking of like kind of big renovations for the most part when we were looking at places. The place we decided on, it hadn't been touched since it was built in the early 90s. And so we stayed in it for over a year before we touched it because we kind of wanted to get a feel for it and like get comfortable with what exact changes we'd want to make, which creates a little bit of a headache later, right, with having to move stuff, everything, but it wasn't that bad. I would do it again, just like how we did it, where we kind of got to sense things out before we actually renovated. But it was one of those things where when we bought the place, it was like, well, we could be here for years probably and be fine with it. And that felt good. But we were just like so excited. And after we got in it, it's like, okay, we know what we want to do. And so we handled the renovation then. And now it's like, kind of our dream spot. But it's something that yeah, we didn't know going into our search, I guess, of like, hey, are we going to sign up for a big renovation? It just kind of came up and it was like, hey, this lot is everything we want. And like the house itself is in a good spot or like, we don't need to make any real big changes. It's all interior design kind of stuff. And so I feel like it was easy for us to say, hey, like, it's okay to have a renovation now, right? Because this is the lot that we want and it's the neighborhood we want. And so it hit all those right things where the renovation didn't feel like a big deal at the end of the day because it was all those other things are harder to find versus like the perfect inside, I guess, right? Like there were things on the interior that, of course, we wouldn't have wanted if it was like our perfect place, but we knew we could change that. So I think that's just like an important lens to how we, looked at it.
I
Yeah.
think the whole real estate term, location, location, location. And it was all three of those location. And we could
Yeah.
just, you can do anything to the interior if you want. You can leave it or make your own changes. And to Mike's point, it hadn't been touched since it was built in the 90s. And it was tired. It needed help. So we gave it that. All
Yeah.
our love.
You gave it the love and you made it yours. And sometimes it's easier to kind of do that renovation and makeover when it is older versus like tearing out somebody else's new style to make it your style.
So true. because you'd feel badly because you know how expensive it can be to do
Yeah.
these renovations.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we didn't feel like we were investing in like the stuff that they had already done to the interior, so we were not attached. That definitely helps.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, awesome. Yeah, you guys have definitely found a good spot and made it yours, and it's definitely a special place. So kind of shifting to like the softer side of things, how has it changed, Carol, maybe for you, like how you've seen the family?
well, and of course, my number one reason all along with having a place, owning a place here, was really to be with, you know, the kids and the grandkids. I mean, Andy would say, "Oh, I love the skiing. This is the great place. Gosh, we love the mountains, the skiing. This is the perfect place to have a home." Yes, it was a perfect place to have a home. I guess my first priority was it's a perfect place to have a home because we have the family here and everyone comes up for the weekends, and Stephanie and Matt come out when they come to Keystone. We've seen Stephanie and Matt already once, and now they're coming out for a week for their spring break. And yes, so it was just a total win-win for us. So soft side is I'm happy that we're here because of the family.
Nice. Mike, how about you?
I'm happy because we get free babysitting on the weekends. And that seriously is a perk. Like being able to have my parents around on the weekends, like it just opens up my wife and I to be able to do stuff and be able to go ski. If we can't ski, right? Like my youngest is too young to ski right now, so we always need someone to like help out if we're gonna be able to be together. So it is really nice to be able to give my parents with the time with the kids, but also great for me selfishly, right? So we can go out and do stuff and see friends or do whatever it is. So yeah, I think my parents would still be coming out on trips, right? And we would still see each other in that way, but it's different when it's like, hey, weekend over weekend, we always know it's something to look forward to, is to be able to come up and be able to see and to just have like family time all together. And it just makes it more like relaxing where you're not pressured to like fit in a bunch of stuff. When you're on like vacation or if my parents were to come in for a week, you're kind of on the go always, and you're always feeling like you have to do X, Y, Z. But I feel like because it's over the most of the winter, we have a lot more flexibility on just like taking our time doing things or going out and doing things maybe we normally wouldn't do because you don't have much like pressure, right? So yeah, it's been great from all those aspects.
Yeah. That's I can really vouch for the value of grandparent babysitting. That's really, there's a short phase of life where it's really invaluable, and it's good for everybody. You guys all do a good
Mm.
job of all kind of spending time together. And then, so what would you say, both of you, is kind of like one of your favorite things to do while you're up here in the mountains, or what's something you look forward to besides the family time?
From my perspective, it's always like, going out and doing the mountain activities that we don't get to do in Denver, right? So for us, it's downhill skiing. We Nordic ski a ton, which the Frisco Nordic Center is awesome, and we can just like drive 5 minutes and be at an awesome Nordic Center. And then obviously in the summer, all the hiking, and we mountain bike a lot. But now it's just fun to bring the kids on all those little adventures, right? And bring them out and like go hiking and have a kid in the backpack, etc. So that's always what we're looking forward to is just, the outdoor activities and being outside and not feeling like, you know, constrained to our neighborhood or something like back home and being just inside as much. So
And I'll just add that Mike is constrained because he's already got all the Strava records in his neighborhood. So now he's coming up to Frisco in the mountains and getting all the Strava records.
exactly. Yeah, different talent out in the mountains. It's nice to be competitive with all of them too. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Mike's the only one that can really come up and just overrun everybody. He's, yeah. He gets
I
that
know.
from
Yes,
Carol,
he has such an interesting perspective, doesn't he?
though.
Andy and I have really enjoyed going to the Silverthorne Rec Center. We've been doing that now the last 2 winters we've been here. So that's fun. That's kind of how we can start our mornings. And then, we're free and easy because it's like, well, I don't have to do a whole lot of housework and I don't have to answer to anyone else. So we always really enjoy our walks. I love waking up to a lot of sunshine during the, right away in the morning. So it just kind of invigorates us. And we set our times, okay, what day are we going to ski? And it's so nice to be able to ski on the weekdays. And to Mike's point, it's a win-win because we're completely fine staying here and being with Max or both Max and May over the weekends because we get our skiing in during the week. But we also enjoy going into Breckenridge, enjoying dining there, enjoy dining in Frisco. We've gotten to know certain places that we always want to go to, and it's been really delightful for us to
That's
have this opportunity.
Yeah, and she touched on an important point, right? Is like if you are in a multi-generational kind of living arrangement, like if people have the weekday freedom to be able to go out and do their thing and avoid the crowds, like they're going to do that and then not want to do that on the weekends, right? Because it's way more busy. And so it's a really good trade-off because like that's when I can get out because of our work lifestyle in Denver on the weekdays. And so it is like the perfect trade-off where, I'm going to deal with those crowds, but not even to the extent because I'm not driving up during traffic, which is a massive perk, right, of having a place. But we're going to still do those things on the weekends because that's when we're free. But if my parents are around on the weekdays, like they don't care to do those same things necessarily or are okay not doing it. And that's huge.
yeah. Yeah, that you're still part of the weekender crowd, but
Exactly.
your parents can
They
avoid.
could, yes, but they can come up earlier, to Mike's point.
Mhm.
Yes, they can come up sometime, possibly Thursday evening or early Friday morning or midday. Yes, it gives them a lot of flexibility. Mike, Megan, and Jen. Yeah.
Yeah. Mike, what do your kids think about coming up to the mountains?
They love it. The only problem is like come Monday or Tuesday, they're already asking like, when are we gonna see Gammy and Pop Pop? So yeah, well, it's great because of all the friends that we've made up in the mountains too. Like, there's plenty of kids around, right? And so it's not like they're leaving their friends. And we have so many friends that either have places around Summit County or they're coming up for the day or whatever, that we don't feel like we're missing anything, back home typically, or we'll just, stay home for a day or whatever's needed. But in general, yeah, they absolutely love it because it's a change of scenery. I think that's the biggest thing is like you spend all week in your house especially during the winter where it's harder to get out maybe. And it's just a good change of pace for the kids to be able to get out to a new environment and be able to do like different activities from what they normally do. So like we have the traditions of like being able to walk downtown to Main Street in Frisco and they like have their favorite spots that they stop at, right? They got the toy store that my mom always buys them toys from, etc. So it's like those little things of, hey, they have like good memories of those little activities that they get to do. And so they want to go back and do that again the next weekend. So yeah, they love it.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. That's awesome. And May's skiing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it when it comes to kids being in like ski lessons and having like the ability to do that, I don't know if I'd be able to do it if I didn't have a place up here as far as just like dealing with that traffic and the effort to get up super early with them, etc. It makes it so easy to just go up to Copper for ski lessons. We take the bus, which she loves, kind of right from our place. And it's just like a stress-free environment. And so yeah, she's crushing it. It's awesome to be able to get out and like her be able to ski on herself, like alone and not have us kind of all around her afraid of like her getting out of control. It's
Yeah.
it's yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a big milestone when you feel like they're not gonna just run for
they're
the
not understanding. Yeah,
Mhm. Andy and I had the opportunity to ski with May last weekend, which was fun. So
nice.
fun thing to do with her.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
not very many grandparents are skiing with their grandkids.
It is amazing how many couples, how many people we have met and just run into that are really our age, older, that are just embracing the Colorado life, the Colorado mountain life. And that's basically what's really been wonderful for us is embracing this life, this lifestyle that we are so privileged to have because our home in the Twin Cities in Minneapolis, St. Paul is just, completely different than this. So,
Right.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
really very special.
And there's beautiful things there that you can enjoy in spring,
Sure.
summer, and winter, or spring,
Yeah.
summer, fall. Yeah.
Well, and you can enjoy Colorado at any time of the year. And last August we came out and basically we had to go home for a wedding, but basically we're here till almost the middle of October. So it was beautiful. And then you can really enjoy all the hiking. Right now it's sort of messy, but so we find our places where we're just taking our walks and our views in from different, arenas than being up high, higher in the mountains hiking. So it's good.
Yeah.
You make it work.
Make it work. You're right. It is a privilege to get to live this lifestyle. And I'm sure I have no doubt that Andy has made all the friends because I feel like he had like 3 phone numbers after the first showing and he's like had friends to talk to. So I love that you guys just integrated right into the community very easily.
Hmm. It's very easy to do that too.
Yeah, it's a pretty welcoming place.
Hmm.
So what advice would you guys have for families that are looking for or considering a place like this?
I would
Mike?
say, I guess like probably the biggest takeaway I had from our search and everything was just have patience to try to get the right spot. Like I feel like all of a sudden we got pretty excited when my parents were like, "Hey, we want to do this. Let's do it together." And so we started looking right away. And naturally, it's like, oh, this season, I want to try to get something. And we had one offer in on a different place, before the place we bought. But there were a lot of other places we were considering. And I feel like it took time for us to really hone in on our top priorities. And I think seeing more places was just like important to that. And we didn't rush it. Like if we weren't totally content with something, I'm glad we didn't pull the trigger too early. So I feel like just patience and not feeling like you have this hard set timeline because I think you're going to feel a lot more confident in your purchase, obviously, if you took the time and you feel really confident in that purchase. And so, yeah, I just think patience is the number one thing of knowing kind of where you want to be, like which part of Summit County or wherever you're looking is most important to you, and like trying to stick to that and see. Don't just give up on it, I guess, like in the first couple months.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And we always say to our clients, like, this is a process, not an event,
Right.
especially like second homes. When it's your primary home, you're like, okay, this is exactly what I want and what I need to have and where I want to be. When it's a second home, there's a lot more variables. So it like you said, it's definitely worth exploring and finding like what that fit is and being patient for the right place.
Hmm. And I think you have to prioritize and let everyone talk to what is most important to them because we'll each have something to offer with that, and we each had something that we prioritized more than others, so we kind of had to group that all together and say, okay, these are the priorities, and it became a little bit longer list because you're dealing with more ideas from everyone, and that's good too. I think we really realized though in the end we all kind of were looking for the same thing. It was really a much easier process than you would think and people think necessarily. So just to let people know it works.
Yeah. Well,
And
that
high expectations there. I hope that goes well for everyone. Yeah.
yeah, that is a testament to you and your family and your dynamics and respect for each other. That was very apparent during the process. So I'm sure there are others out there that can have that same smooth sailing. But if you need a playbook, talk to the Michudas because we've got this dialed. How to listen to everybody and say what you want. Um, all right. So last thing I want to touch on here. When you guys were initially looking at this, I think there's definitely a lifestyle component to it of like getting to spend more time with the family. But are you guys looking at this as a financial investment as well, or is it strictly just lifestyle focused?
To me, strictly lifestyle focus. Yeah. It
Don't call
was.
dad. Don't call dad into the room.
Oh no, but no, he would absolutely say the same thing. I mean, this has just been such a gift, and as I said, just such a privilege. So yeah, it's definitely lifestyle. I think I would hope most people would go into it that way because I think then the family dynamics plays such a key role when you make that decision, and to listen to each of us and what we want out of the home we're buying.
Yeah, I think for us it was a lifestyle like investment because the reasons my mom said, but I think all of us just knew, hey, this is what we want in the long term, and it's going to be here for a long, long time to come. And so we're not interested in selling this place anytime in the future. Like in our minds, it's like, no, we hope this like stays within the family for a long time. But that's because we like we're lucky enough to be in that position to like buy something that we really wanted to hold on to and not be in the position of needing to rent it, right? Like if we were renting it or we were in it for the goal of trying to make an investment, just like my sister did with her condo, we would be just viewing that purchase differently as far as going into it and like what exactly we'd choose. Uh, but because we went into it knowing that it's more of a lifestyle investment, like we're going for a single family home and this is like how many bedrooms we care about for our family and all those things, we didn't have like any of the rental lens to any of that from the priority perspective. So, yeah, that I think it just changes your criteria, right? And so that was our choice. Obviously, a lot of people do it for like rental investment and everything else. But for us, it wasn't. It was definitely the lifestyle.
Mhm.
I'm sick of sitting in traffic and I didn't want to deal with that anymore. And I wanted to spend more time in the mountains. And like that's the priority above us. And if you're buying something that you're really passionate about and like, you can feel quite confident that it's a good investment at the same time, right? Like if we cared about it and we knew that this was a good location, we had a lot of confidence that other people would find that to be the case as well if for whatever reason we had to sell it down the road, right? But that was definitely secondary.
Mhm.
Awesome. But there was so much good information here, you guys. Thank you very much for sharing. I feel like I've talked to a lot of people in similar situations that are kind of exploring this for their families. So it's really good to kind of get your story out there, a very successful story of like a family, a great place, and that you guys are making the most of it and getting to enjoy the mountains. So thanks for taking time today to be here. Any parting words of
I,
wisdom?
one thing I did want to say is that with the different people we've met and talked with, this is becoming more and more of a priority and more common with families. Our generation, who is the baby boomers, who are kind of taking over right now, with everyone retiring, they're all trying to figure out what do they want to do, how do they want to prioritize family time and being together and knowing the importance of that. We found a lot of people wanting to purchase here in Summit County, which is very good, but can be a little bit of a negative too, because there's just this huge influx of people that just really want to stay healthy, later in life. And this is such a perfect place to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Yeah, that's a really good perspective that like there's a big generation that has worked very, very hard and is now trying to find ways to kind of like live that life that they want. So
Mm-hmm.
Last thing I'll say is just thank you, Candace, for getting us such an awesome spot. So couldn't
Yes.
have done it without you.
thank you. Well, like I said, you guys are a very special family and it's very fun to work with people like you. So hopefully there's more people like you out there.
Well, you're
Now
very
we get to hang
special.
out and see each other,
Yes.
which is
Yes. It's really nice. And you have children almost the same age as Mike and Megan, so it's kind of lifetime friendship for you, which is really
yeah,
nice.
generational friends too,
Mhm.
for sure.
Thank you. Yes, I feel that way with you too, Candace.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here.